Oh, I do too. I just wanted to raise, I do have a potential conflict of interest relating to the community grants program. There's a couple of, sorry, I just need to get to my page, I have to move it around. Thank you very much. So on that list of projects, there's both the TERA, which I'm nominated as a Deputy Director through Council on that board, but also I'm the Director or Vice President of the EDSDA, the Neighbourhood Centre as well. So I just wanted to, in line with the Local Government Act conflict of interest, so I just want to raise that, I declare that I have a conflict of interest in this matter as defined the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175D as follows, that that I have determined that this personal interest is not sufficient, of sufficient significance that it will lead me to make a decision on a matter that is contrary to the public interest. I will best perform my responsibilities of serving the overall public interest of the whole of the council area by participating in the discussion and voting on this matter. However, I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine, pursuant to section 175E, subsection 4 of the Local Government Act, whether I have a real conflict of interest in this matter or perceived conflict of interest in this matter, and if so, whether I must leave the meeting while this matter is discussed or voted on, or I may participate in the meeting in relation to the matter, including by voting on this matter. And I'll now leave the room whilst you make that decision. I'll hand over to Councillor Harris to chair that if that's possible. Thank you.
Keep going.
So through you, Mr.
Yeah, sorry.
You're right. Through you, Mr. Chair, we at this stage, there's not the requirement under the Act at the moment, and even with the new procedures for councillors to leave the room during this process, but as the HRC have been undertaking this process as best practice.
And it's going to come up in the General Council because I was going to query with our standing orders, if a councillor doesn't vote on it, as in abstain, their vote is automatically seen as a negative.
Correct. And the anomaly we have here is that should one of the councillors be unable to vote or participate in the room and abstain, then that would be a negative vote. So the decision itself would be transferred to a General Council meeting based on that. So, but if the mayor's comfortable to have a conversation about this.
I just think a point of order there. I'm not sure that in the event that council, this is a proper mechanism. The council is not in the room to participate in the discussion and then not vote on it. It's actually not recorded in the negative that abstinence and recognition of the person leaving the room is actually accorded. It would be accorded the same response in the General Council meeting because in fact the conflict of interest would still remain. So in fact it wouldn't be recorded as a negative vote, it would be a record of the fact that through the mechanism available that council did not participate, and I guess without testing it, I think, and I think deferring to your wise comment about best practice, the reality would be that if I think it is recognised that once the person's left the room, that's sufficient to as long as the vote in the room is unanimous.
Your apologies if I didn't clarify that correctly. I think I was referring to Councillor Riddlecomb's comment. If they were to stay in the room and abstain, then it would be
exactly. Sorry.
Out of the room, they're not participating, but you still have a quorum.
Yes.
That's correct. Good. So.
Both appointments are council appointments, are they?
Yes, it's irrelevant, but the other one isn't a council.
Really so the vote might be
about
Megan's declaration. The fact is she's made that call and left the room.
Yeah.
So in fact that's what we laid in front of us. And she recorded that. So.
But technically it was only the name that was there.
So to resolve the conflict, council needs to determine whether or not there's a real or perceived conflict of interest in this instance, and then whether or not Councillor Daniels can re-enter the room, participate in the discussion and vote on the matter.
I believe it's perceived conflict of interest.
Yes.
So I believe she should be able to stay in this.
Okay, so councillors, we believe it to be a perceived interest and she can stay in the room and participate. All in favour?
That's Michelle.
So we need a move and a second.
Right, sorry, moved by councillor Godwin Smith, second by councillor Brindlecombe. All in favour? Against? Thank you. Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you. So the decision was, you did go up.
Participate. Thank you very much. Okay. So, right, moving into that first agenda item, 10.1, relating to the community grants program. Could everyone please, sorry, I'll now hand over to Daniel Fletcher to introduce that report and to welcome Suzanne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, councillors, I won't provide too much detail here. Suzanne and the team can discuss how the community grants program and the panel determined the outcome here.
Sorry, not quick enough. Okay, so thank you, Daniel. Through the chair, the Community Grants Program offers the opportunity for community to apply for grants up to $5,000. There are two categories of grants. One is titled the Community Assistance Grant, which is for organisations with a community focus, and their main objective is to provide community benefit. And the second is titled Sport and Recreation Assistance Grant, and these are for organisations where their objective is to provide organised sport and recreation activities. So I'll pass you to Bernadine Frawley, the Coordinator in Community Engagement, for some more details.
Thanks, Suzanne. Through the chair. Good morning. There's two rounds with the community grants totalling $166,500 per year, which includes both categories. This report presents the grant application results of the community grants program for round 2, 2018. I'll pass you on to Annette Burton, Community Development Officer, Capacity Building, to provide details on the applications received this round.
Thank you, Bernadine. Through the chair, this round council received 27 community grant applications. The report presents the community grant assessment panel's recommendation for council to endorse 22 of the 27 applications received, to the total value of $79,276.40. The list of grants nominated for endorsement is attached to the report. We'll go through some of the highlighted projects which the recommendation includes, which is the Blackwater Tiny Tots. Their project is to purchase and install air conditioning. Central Highlands Triathlon Club, their project, the CH Triathlon Club is planning to host more events in the coming months, and they need new two-way radios for safety. The Scouts Capella branch, their Scouts den or their clubhouse has no storage available, and so the Capella Scouts will purchase a container which will be their storage for their camping gear and things like that. Also, they're going to build a concrete pathway from the front gate to the den, because there's currently no pathway. The Springsure Show Society are upgrading their walkways at the sale yards at the Springsure Showgrounds. The upgrade is needed for safety. The current walkways are wooden. This space at the showgrounds is used for bull sales, the annual show and camp drafts. The Show Society hope to have the project completed before Easter next year, so that the walkways will be ready for the cattle camp draft and the pony club events. And the Gemfields Community Support Association, manage personal information for Meals on Wheels and other programs they're on, and they need to update their security system. So All applicants will be advised of their application's outcome in writing, and those who are not successful will be given feedback if it's requested. Are there any questions about the nominated applications for endorsement?
No, but a great lineup as always, and only 5 missed out.
It was good.
Yeah.
Very diverse as well, which is great to see across both geographically and what's actually covered or what the types of groups apply. So if there's no further questions, the resolution is there in front of us. May I please have a mover for that resolution? I think Councillor Brimblecombe and then seconded was Councillor Sypher. A show of hands please for all in favour. Thank you very much.
Is there any planned media as well? Like
Yeah,
to put it out there in the broader community? Yeah, also. Already on Andrew's in the room. Yes.
Yeah, and through the chair, can I just congratulate the unit for obviously, as you said, rightly pointed out, Madam Chair, there is a diverse range of applicants there. But clearly, you know, the community is aware of this terrific grants program, and I do acknowledge that you do a lot of work to make sure that I guess groups are aware of it. So very much appreciated. So.
It's a big effort.
I noticed you've been very resourceful with that expensive carrot.
Thank you very much.
I can speak through the chair, we love Annette too.
So moving on to 10.2, the Community Planning Advisory Group meeting notes. I'll ask Daniel to introduce Bernadette Frawley, which is thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, council opportunity to bring the minutes from the CPAC meeting that's held on the 10th of September before you here to endorse those. So I'll allow Bernadette or Suzanne, which will be running through this one, to touch on the high points for everyone.
Since we're both here, we'll do some each, so thank you. Through the chair. This report, as Daniel has said, presents the meeting notes from the special meeting of the Community Planning Advisory Group, it's known as CPAG, that was held on the 10th of September for those to be received. And so this special meeting was actually called for the Community Development Unit to present a proposed funding model to disperse the $160,000 of CRG project allocation funding in this financial year. So I'll pass you on to Bernadette, who will give you some more details.
Thank you, Suzanne, and through the chair. At the CPAG meeting, a CRG regional project funding model was proposed, and based on feedback in that meeting, the CPAG members requested the following actions: to consider risk management and any community project funding process where council funds are held by an auspice, to present a report to council regarding a review of the CH 2022 community plan, to present a report to council regarding CRG projects for the purposes of reviewing them to determine which are mature enough to be expended in the 2018-2019 financial year, and to present a model for future CRG funding via the community grants process. Thank you. I now hand you back to the chair for the CPAG minutes to be received.
Thank you. So the resolution's there in front of us. May I have, is there any further questions before I ask for a mover? No? May I have a mover please for that report? Thank you, Councillor Brimblecombe, and second Councillor Golding-Smith. All in favour, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Moving on to 10.3. Is the Central Highlands Regional Council CHACAC meeting minutes. I know that Karen isn't here, so I'll hand it over to Daniel to introduce the report team.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you again, this again presents an opportunity for the Central Highlands Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee meeting minutes to come before council and be received. So Suzanne's going to go, or maybe?
It's a team effort.
Team effort again.
Thank you, Daniel, and through the chair. So as Daniel said, this report presents the Central Highlands Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee planning notes from the 22nd of July and the 19th of July this year. So this report requests that council receive these meeting notes and the actions that are outlined within that report. I'll pass now to Bernadine so that she can highlight the actions that have been presented today.
Thank you, Suzanne, and through the chair. Yes, Karen Newman is attending an Artlands conference in Victoria at Bendigo and Castlemaine, hence why I'm standing in today. So the actions from these CHACAC meeting notes are as follows. From the Friday 22nd June, the Arts and Cultural Officer is to draft a memo of understanding to recognise the Duringa Historical and Tourism Association ownership of the Inga Ellis collection. The Arts and Cultural Officer is to add suggested projects to the Creative Cultural Futures and Heritage Action Plan. The Arts and Cultural Officer has to do a number of things actually, work in partnership with council libraries on arts, culture and heritage programs, to provide CHACAC members with collected information to date for the Arts, Culture and Heritage booklet, to create a survey form for community feedback and data collection for Council's Arts and Cultural collective mailing list, to meet with the Central Highlands Development Corporation to check the Hewlett-Packard Reveal Erasmus app requirements, to implement interdepartmental discussion and planning regarding the local heritage register, for the Arts and Cultural Officer, Council Libraries and Information Management Team to investigate online systems that are publicly searchable for family and local history collections. The Arts and Cultural Officer and the Coordinator of Community Engagement to investigate volunteer programs and support, and to investigate the Entertainment Centre and Artist Precinct projects. Then there were actions from the Thursday 19 July meeting held in Tieri. Again, the Arts and Cultural Officer to seek permission to share Central Queensland Museum Officers training resources, add additional member suggestions to the Creative Cultural Futures Actions Plan, to continue working with the library team for the Heritage Collection Management, to list cemeteries on the agenda for Heritage Subcommittee meeting, to share the Capella Bakehouse oven design with members, to share the adopted Council Heritage Management Framework with members, to present the draft Springshore Hospital Museum Conservation Conservation Plan to members, and to coordinate handover for Arts in August event while on sick leave. I'll now hand it back to the chair to receive those minutes.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you. So the resolutions there in front of us to receive those minutes. May I please have, if there's no further questions, may I please have a mover for those? Thank you. Councillor Godwin-Smith and a seconder, thank you. Councillor Brindlecombe, thank you. All in favour, please. Show of hands. Thank you. Great. So let's moving on to section 11. Customer and commercial services. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bernadine and Suzanne, for those reports.
Thank you, Madam Chair. With your permission, I don't intend to go through every set of minutes. Really? Oh, we could be here all day, but there are a number of council and community consultation minutes before the committee this morning. It has been our intent to endeavour to bring them to you in a more timely manner. Ideally, the next meeting post the consultation is ideal. We also have endeavoured to include an action sheet there for some comments that were made by councillors at the last presentation of council consultation minutes, and certainly would encourage some feedback from council in regards to whether there's anything missing from that action sheet or any additional information that you would like within that regard. I'm also working with the team in regards to the standard and the quality of those minutes.
One thing I did raise when I was reading the notes was the consistency around that community consultation track. Like some of them have got a lot of detail, some of them don't mention that actually provide a response to the community member that raised it, and then some of the tracking reports actually just say in progress, when I personally know that there has actually been activity on those those actions. So it was just something I raised to, if we could have some consistency around that reporting, would be very good. Is there any other questions for Michelle?
Just in regards to, can conversations held at Acadia Valley in regards to the tennis court lighting? There was some discussion down there, but there doesn't seem to be maybe if we take it forward to game plan or something rather than it's just the lighting on the tennis courts that we discussed and the implications surrounding the transformer there.
Not reflected in the minutes, councillor?
It wasn't probably just flicking through again, but it's, maybe it wasn't at the actual meeting itself, maybe it was other discussions around either side of the meeting before and after.
We have talked about it at the CRG.
As well?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll let it go.
Okay. Right, well, I'll move through, we have a resolution for each of the different set of minutes. So I'll move through each of those, but if there is any other specific questions around the community consultations, we'll deal with them as we get to that specific consultation. So the resolutions there in front of you for the Acadia Valley community consultation on the 2nd of August. Councillor McAdoo, you moved that. May I please have a seconder? Councillor Godwin-Smith, all in favour, show of hands, thank you very much.
Can I just ask a question in relation to the tracking sheet? How do they get, like, there's going to be several tracking sheets with actions on them. Where will we keep them? Where will they be stored? And how can we check in on how those things are progressing, do you think? Will they just be sort of like our resolutions, meeting actions registers now, or will they sit within this community's department and we can revisit them every 6 months?
That's a good question. I'd like to think that, I guess 6 months would mean that it would be before the next community consultation. So, Michelle, is that something that you would be able to diarise to those
I think certainly looking at the process and how we do that, and certainly part of the process does need to be the communication, particularly to community members as well as councillors, when you're attending the next consultation, that you have that information in regards to what has been dealt with. We certainly could bring a 6-monthly report to council, do you know what I mean, an update in regards to those actions, if that is what you desire in the community.
I wonder if they could be consolidated into one.
Yes, so they are all in one list.
Are they?
They are filtered and brought out in regards to the different localities. And if I can, through the chair, make an apology to Councillor Godwin-Smith. I thought I'd picked up all the references to your name and there was no hyphen in there. So apologies for
I'll run with anything, Godwin-Smith. Whatever.
But anyway, yep, so we certainly are working through the process in regards to how we do it.
Look, I think I'm picking up that it would be good to report back, that action should be brought back in 6 months.
Okay.
I think 6 months would be enough.
Yeah, just one check-in. Thank you very much. We could have that. All of them, yes, yeah. So moving on to the Buckland consultation on the 2nd of August, can I please have a mover for those? Councillor Cypher and Councillor Brimacombe second. Show of hands, thank you. Thank you very much. And there's obviously no further questions regarding Buckland. Moving on to the Ryan community consultation also on 2nd of August. Is there any questions regarding that consultation? May I have a mover, please? Councillor Godwin-Smith and Councillor McAdoo will second. Thank you very much. And a show of hands, please. All in favour. Please cast your eyes. The Treswell community consultation on the 2nd of August. Is there any specific questions regarding that community consultation? No. May I please have a mover? Thank you. Councillor Godwin-Smith, and a seconder, thank you. Councillor Brindlecombe, and a show of hands, please. Thank you. All in favour? Going forward to the Ralston, sorry, I lost my spot. Ralston Community Consultation 11.5. Any specific questions regarding that community consultation? May I please have a mover? Thank you. Councillor Godwin-Smith, and a second, Councillor McIndoe. All in favour? Thank you. Okay, and the Top Brain Community Consultation on the 3rd of August, thank you. Any specific questions regarding that community consultation? No. May I have a mover? Thank you. Councillor Brindlecombe, and a seconder. Councillor Godwin-Smith, all in favour, please. Hands up, thank you very much. Okay, on to Thierry. Any specific questions regarding Thierry community consultation? No. May I please have a mover? Councillor Slifer, and seconder, Councillor Brindlecombe. Show of hands, please. All in favour. Thank you very much. Mount Ball on the 22nd of August. Any specific questions? No. Councillor Slifer was the mover. Councillor Brindlecombe seconded the motion. All in favour. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. Moving on to 11.9, the Sapphire community consultation on the 23rd of August. Any specific questions? No. May I have a mover then? Thank you. Councillor McIndoe, Councillor, and was the mover, Councillor Godwin-Smith seconded. Show of hands, thank you. All in favour. So, moving on to Anarchy, also on the 23rd of August. Any specific questions? No? May I have a mover? Thank you. Councillor Slifer, and Councillor Godwin-Smith was the seconder. Thank you. Show of hands to confirm. Councillor McIndoe, you confirm your motion? All in favour? Thank you very much.
So much.
Yep. The Willows, 11.11, please. Any specific questions regarding the Willows on the 24th of August? No. May I please have a mover? Thank you, Councillor Godwin-Smith, and a seconder, Councillor Slifer. Thank you. And a show of hands to confirm everyone's in favour. Thank you. All in favour. Nearly there. Bodentungan, 11.12. I have a mover with Councillor Godwin-Smith and a seconder, Councillor Slifer. Thank you. Show of hands. All in favour. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Lockington on the 24th of August. No questions. May I please have a mover? Thank you very much. Councillor Godwin-Smith, and a second was Councillor McIndoe. Show of hands. Thank you. All in favour. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you, Michelle, for presenting that section of the Standing Committee. I'll now move on to number 13. Could miss number 12, but number 13, departmental updates, please. And the first one is coming from the Community Standing Committee meeting. So I'll hand over to Daniel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through
For
you.
the community department.
Councillors, we have presented 36 operational updates. I probably won't go through all of them in detail, but please feel free to ask about any that you see here or any others that are might be brought to your attention. The first 9 are related to the Rangers team, and it's pretty important. We want to get some information back to council, in particular the Standing Committee, noting that we've had somewhat of a reduction in our service levels over the last 6 months due to vacancies. So as you can see here, there's a lot of activity happening in the Rangers, and we've essentially got a full complement now of that team. So right across some of the magpie attacks, prickly acacia, some cat trapping and other issues. So I think probably also worth noting is on the 8th of September earlier this year, one of our trainees was representing Central Highlands Regional Council in the Trainee of the Year Awards. Top of our councils attended to support there as well, but unfortunately didn't get the go in the end, but nonetheless, I think we're pretty proud of the staff members, the entire Rangers team, but in particular Michelle, who's doing a great job. Move on to number 10, Better Council, Better Communities. So the Ranger Services and Library Services team have undertaken the meet and greet sessions with the LGAQ based on the promotional advertisement you may have seen in the past, so the next iteration of that is occurring. Number 11 is a snapshot of the corporate communications update, so shooting of a recruitment video by Digital Black. So there's a couple of videos, about 4 we're aware of at the moment. One of them is a video that's targeting, I'm going to say young professionals, is that right, Andrea? Young professionals to the region to present council as an attractive employer. We've got some other work happening from staff members to present their roles as more than just day-to-day business as usual and what's behind their roles. So we'll see some of those videos roll out as well. There's some new bird swooping signs that have started to be deployed out. But again, you can read down some of the issues towards the end around our uptake of the Vine there. So as well, so now 488 users with councillors all on board, and quite a substantial amount of page views, so to speak. So that covers the entire website of the Vine, if you've had a chance to look through that. So it's relatively substantial, but again, we're obviously getting quite a large uptake of staff and councils now being updated there. I'll move on to number 13, which is Arts in August, and you can see the list of events that were presented across that entire month, 15 in total, which span again across our entire region from Springshore, Emerald, Gemfields, Blackwater, Dingo, and Capella. And then number 14 as well, so the 16th event, which occurred in September, the Astronomical 2. You can see the dates there that happened in September, and also what's occurring through October. Importantly as well, number 15, our RADF funding that's upcoming, so 3 rounds, one at the end of this month, one in December, and then one in March next year. So the team's fully prepared for that. We have the Tech Savvy Seniors at the Gemfields Library, so had their first Tech Savvy Seniors computer presented there, which was on the 30th of August. 16 people in total attended the 3 sessions there, so again, getting some large activation in the libraries, and in particular around the Tech Savvy Seniors sessions. If we move on to the number 29, I've got here for the youth events this school term. So we have quite a list there that's spread again across our region. So the NAIDOC movie, Week of Movie Night, barbecue skate afternoon in Bluff, Sister City Exchange, welcome, circus themed night. Assisted at the Coal Centre, the 10-year celebrations, Book Week, Are You OK? At the Blackwater office, the community movie in the park, the Dingo Skate afternoon. So you can see in brackets there the amount of attendees that are participating in those activities. We're having quite success in the youth space, and that's only a reflection of the hard work the team's doing and again following the strategy the council recently endorsed. So
That's great.
I'm probably not worth touching on any more of them unless I have some specific questions from the council. Happy to move on to 36, which is the overview of our sport and recreation team. I've got Courtney in the back. If we're happy to move on.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just going to say they're great participation numbers with these events, and we might schedule something in the future to have a more detailed update of where we're up to. Checking maybe 6 months into the new strategy. But yeah, it's been great. And you know, I know that the strategy talks about not just putting on events, but getting you to participate in organising. So good to hear how that's going as well.
That is good. If I just make a comment on in relation to your report, on number 30, the youth team recruitment, Daniel. I just note there that the youth development officer that was located in Capella has recently resigned. The role for the senior youth development officer not filled yet. How many goes have we had at that?
I do believe that obviously this was written a little bit before we're up to it, but at this stage, and Suzanne's in the back, so she might be able to help us out. But we've had 4 attempts to recruit, and I believe we're progressed relatively far in this last attempt. Suzanne, can you provide any further detail there as to how much closer we are?
Through the chair, we believe it's fourth time lucky, so any time now we should be able to confirm that, but we can just have a little bit more patience, we're just about there.
So at the moment, so I've got it clear in my head, we've only got one youth officer
That's correct.
delivering everything under that youth strategy, and that'll be Josh.
Okay, good. And just something I raised with the 31, there's an update there just saying that we've got the first draft of the council's curbside collection and bulk bin contracts. I just note that there was a few of the more rural communities that asked about the possibility of bulk bin, so I did ask Daniel if they could have a look at that with their considerations and whether that was viable to include that into the next contract.
Through you, Madam Chair, just by way of update there, so given that we're in an appropriate time now where we're undertaking negotiations for that contract, we'll have a look at a number of options where we can either include into that contract bulk pickups from relatively isolated areas, or as a second option, what that looks like as a different contract. So that'll be we'll bring that back to this community standing committee to determine the way forward.
Right, just one other question, if I just go back to youth. The youth services, who are youth services? Is that a team of people, or is youth services just Josh?
Through you, Madam Chair, so the team does comprise in our FTEs of 3 staff, so that when we refer to the services, it is the 3 staff. At this point in time, it is 1 staff member. Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to say there's been an enormous amount of work done and very successful, delivered with what sounds like a team, but it's really not too many resources there, and I think we should be commending those people that are involved in delivering these youth events and activities, because it's very commendable. They always get a high level of engagement, and the activities are always done to a very high standard. And I just want to pass on my thanks to the youth team or youth services, whoever they are.
Through you, Madam Chair, just to extend on that, notwithstanding Josh's remarkable ability to get all of this work done, I am well aware that the CDU team across all of them do really make that allow for what is a reduced level of resourcing in that area to make sure we get the actions out of our strategy completed. So it's certainly to be complimented by the whole community.
No, it is appreciated.
And then there was just another question I had, sorry, Courtney, I know you down, but around that councillor portal report regarding, there was the Willow's cactus spraying and whether there was a collaborative approach and that was being taken there with the department, obviously local landowners to have any information on that at all?
I do. So through you, Madam Chair, we do work and communicate definitely with the landholders. At this stage, there's nothing formalised in place, and there will be an opportunity for the Rangers team to work or at least develop something in place. So currently, we just communicate with them. The ownership sits twofold in terms of council land and private owners on the land. So there's certainly some work that we can progress in getting a more intelligent approach to partnering up in that area. So at this point in time, we don't have necessarily a program which partners the private landholders with our Rangers teams. That is definitely something that we will be progressing in the near future.
It is good to see that you've noted here that the Rangers will do a weekly, obviously there's a spraying or monitoring of that because it is spreading the Willow's cactus, and I know we picked up just off the Springfield town road, there was cactus on what would be a private road. So I think it's important that we don't, that we actually do probably focus on this and maybe do some mapping around where the spread is, because you know, from my involvement in pest management over the last 10 years, I know this is it's an issue that is spreading further and further from the actual starting point.
Through you, Madam Chair, for some more context, one of the real challenges our Rangers are facing or have faced in the past is success of spraying or otherwise. So it really takes a little bit of time to understand how successful one of the sprays have been. And while in the past there have been some less than successful efforts, the most recent efforts have been relatively successful, I'm told. So that is a level of comfort around that it is working, but we do need to stay on top of that. And Rangers will have a concerted effort to make sure that they're mapping that forward, and we can bring a bit more of a detailed update back for the
Okay, thank you. Alright, so,
Julia, thank you everyone for having me here. So, make this pretty short and sweet. I think a lot of you know us by now. Our team obviously consists of 3 people. So myself as the coordinator, and 2 staff which cover 2 parts of the region, with Rhiannon Murray covering the Emerald Jemper's Kapalatieri area, and Emma Walsh covering the Blackwater, Dingo, Domingo, Springshore, Ralston. And we're currently functioning at 2/3 at the moment, with Emma away getting married, so just FYI. We also report to Daniel being General Manager of Communities, as well as working very closely with Jared Bryant being the Manager of Community Facilities and Recreation. So who are we? Yes, so we're a pretty new, newly formed team in the Communities Department. Probably been formed now for just a little bit over 12 months. We're responsible for ensuring that the vision, goals and objectives of the game plan are implemented at, and the sport and recreation, I guess, is sustainable in the Central Highlands, and how we sort of do that. So we provide support to sport and recreation organisations over the region. Here are a few stats for you. So 31 sport and recreation facilities on council-owned and controlled land, 85 organisations operating out of those facilities, and approximately 141 other sport and recreation organisations in the Central Highlands, obviously including some private organisations as well, which we do support to some levels as well. Internally, we work really closely with other areas, particularly parks and gardens, to ensure that I guess the level of service to those sport and recreation facilities are up to standard, and all of and a clear, efficient sort of process of how things get done. So we work pretty closely. Our staff, sport and recreation officers, work very closely with the supervisors of parks and recreation, and I obviously work very closely with the coordinators of parks, being roll-up and training as well. We also work with facilities and the maintenance guys who help us out a bit, and the planning and development team to ensure any of the applications that we're supporting and things like that, we're doing things the right way, basically. Next up, so what do we do? So obviously the game plan got adopted in November last year, and as I said before, we're ensuring that all of the goals and objectives are implemented across the region, and one of those key priorities was the completion and implementation of the tenure framework. So we've been busy working away with that. We provide the executive support to the game plan advisory committee, liaise with and work with internal and external stakeholders to ensure that we've got all the right information and providing it all to councillor staff, and getting that tenure framework done right and aligning with all legislation, etc. Research and review, so researching internally, externally, making sure we've got all of that. Consultation with, developing and working on tenure agreements. So we are currently working on some of the drafted rider use leagues and licenses at the moment, and consultation with sport and recreation organisations. I'll give you a little update a bit later, but we are in round 2 of that at the moment. Strategic planning and direction. So obviously setting the overall, council has a pretty, by putting our team into place, has a pretty important team in setting a strategic direction for sport and recreation to align with those game plan goals, and the 5 are there. We're working really hard to prioritise key projects. So over the last year, we've been able to really get to know our sport and recreation organisations and our facilities, and we've really done a job of, our team's done a great job of sort of identifying what we have, where we need to go, and it's helped us apply for grant applications and identify efficiencies and things like that to ensure that we've sort of got our procedures in place for our sport and rec clubs. So linking with key stakeholders, so we've made some really good relationships with our, in particular, Queensland Rugby League, Queensland Cricket, and Netball Queensland. So there's some things that we're sort of working away at, and we have always had a good relationship with the Department of Housing and I don't know what they're in now, but sport and recreation have moved. So that's really, that's always been a strong relationship there. And obviously, as I said, we're capitalising on some funding opportunities. So we have recently put in 2 pretty key grant applications in. So yeah, we're really working towards making sure that our projects are prioritised right and we capitalise on any funding opportunities. So this here is sort of what our sport and recreation officers do. So the next slide there. I've kind of split it up into 2 areas. We really work on club development and facility maintenance. Slash development, I sort of consider development a bit more of an upgrade. But as far as club development, we've built some really strong relationships with our clubs, and we're still working through those through that as well. Assisting in club governance, strategic planning. A key one at the moment is technology for our clubs, and supporting our clubs to write grants. As far as the facility maintenance, we're conducting a lot of audits and inspections on our facilities, making sure that our field and sport services are providing the right amount of service to make sure they're safe and playable, maintaining our facilities, and also identifying, at the moment we're identifying some gaps in our facilities where we sort of need to work on those, and safety and compliance as well. So that's really a lot of what the sport and recreation officers do, and out there working with those sport and recreation clubs, and obviously in our internal departments to make sure that we're all working together. Next one, so some key priorities of our capital works for 18-19. So in total there are 11 projects aligning with the following, being water infrastructure upgrades, electrical infrastructure upgrades, sports field upgrades, and sporting infrastructure upgrades. So 7 projects are currently out for tender. So they've been completed in the last couple of weeks. So that's pretty exciting, and they should be a few of those should all be sort of awarded by the end of the year. So we're on track with those projects there. Operationally, so we've got some of the key projects that we've sort of worked on. We've got the club governance workshop, so we'll work closely with the department as well to deliver a sport and recreation or similar. They're also going through a bit of a reset at the moment, but we will work with them to deliver some more programs. Our online resource hub, so we're in that planning stage of that. We've had some good meetings so far with our internal departments and contractors to see where we have to head with that. Programs and events that promote active and healthy lifestyle. So recently the Healthy Active Highlanders wrapped up, and we got approximately 2,200 attendees to that. So that was a really successful program, and obviously in looking at looking at more, but obviously we'll look at the survey and see how that went and where we can deliver programs to other sort of target areas as well. Maintaining high standard sporting facilities. So a lot of our operational sort of projects have also been some of our facilities where we need to sort of keep working on to make sure that they're getting up to that, to a safe standard. So lastly, as I said, I'd give you a bit of a game plan round 2 consultation update. This will be as at the 11th of October, so I'm including the ones that we're going through this week. We've got 3 coming up, one tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. So we'll be 32% completed with 31 facilities, 10 completed and 21 remaining. We've met with 41.6% of our sport and recreation organisations, with 35 completed and 49 remaining there. So we're tracking on pretty nicely. We have been functioning at 2/3 of our team, so we're sort of getting there and getting around to everyone. But yeah, it's been going along really well. We've had some really good feedback, and yeah, we've sort of built some really good relationships out there, I think, too. So, and yeah, that's sort of it from me.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Any questions for Courtney?
That was great. I really appreciate that update in the end on how the consultations and the engagement with the clubs are going.
Yeah, and they are receiving minutes and things like that from the meeting as well straight away. So they've sort of got, so that's good too.
Thank you, Courtney.
No problem.
Thank you very much. When's Emma come back?
She's back next week. She's on her honeymoon at the moment.
Yeah, well, that'll soon be over. In a good way. Marriage is wonderful.
Okay. Okay, moving on to our next department, customer and commercial services. I'll hand over to Michelle to introduce the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, report, I'll take it as read, councillors, not a lot of information, just some statistics really for you with regards to staff housing vacancies and community housing vacancies. Unable to progress the housing strategy, review of the housing strategy much at the moment, awaiting resources as I've indicated within the Finance Committee meeting this morning. We're also undertaking a review of the CAPEX funding to be spent on houses to ensure that that's spent appropriately on priority areas. So that review is being conducted at the moment. We have recently undertaken a rent review, I believe, in regards to community housing. So there's been some slight increases there in case for council's information, in case there's some contact with you in that regard. I do believe that the Tidy Towns facilitators, for want of a better word, are currently in Emerald today. They were in Springshaw yesterday, and they're due to be in Capella tomorrow. So that is happening as we speak. So we have also provided within the report for you some. I appreciate there's an annexure which is a full report in regards to customer requests. It's probably got through the gatekeeper. It's probably my view that it's a little too operational, a little too much detail. I don't know that it adds much value to council's agenda, to be quite honest. So I think as a department we can do some more work in regards to how we present that information to council. Happy to take the comments in the report also in regards to a number of the sections are involved in the TOTO project as well. So particularly for our department, it's the leasing component of the system, which will bring a wonderful tool. We've never had a tool that consolidates or has all our leasing information in one area. So that will be an enormous asset in regards to not only property housing leases, but property leases in regards to their triggers for renewal timeframes and rental payments and all those things as well. So that will be a good addition to assist us to manage those things in a more efficient manner. I'm happy to take any questions from councillors in regards to the report.
The only comment I have is it's good to see that we're doing a review of the after hours services, after our call service. And obviously there's a few little issues that are there, but once you know about them, you can target to improve them.
Yeah, and certainly the coordinated customer service is onto peak services when we're aware of an issue. It's identifying what is the cause of the issue and then rectifying that either internally within council or within the scripting that our after our service do work on.
Okay, that's good. Any questions for Michelle?
When we hear about the Tidy Towns?
Not sure, councillor, but I can find out some information and advise councillors.
Well, I mean, I had the privilege of being involved with the visit to Springshaw yesterday, and the staff did an awesome job of taking through Keep Australia Beautiful representatives around and looking at all aspects of our communities. And I just wonder how long we have to wait now. Well, I think it just like we just heard about Blackwater. You know, really, it's not that long ago we heard about Blackwater being installed, so we might have to wait months.
Yeah, I think we'll endeavour to find out.
Because they've got to go around a fairly big region.
That's right.
Yeah.
No rush, Michelle. I'm sure we'll hear.
Yeah. If we win, we'll hear anyhow.
No doubt.
I'm excited. Thank you. Like I see another 5 stars somewhere.
So moving on, sorry, I realised that I've got to ask for a move and a second for the departmental update.
Yes, through that, Chair, so we'll just have to keep it in sequence so we can move this report and then we'll just have to attach the next part after.
Okay, so if I could grab a mover for the customer and commercial services departmental update. Thank you, Councillor Brimcombe, and seconder, Councillor Godwin Smith, and then we'll now. Oh, sorry. All in favour, sorry, yes. All in favour, thank you very much. And then we'll now go back to the Communities Department. Sorry about missing that. Can I please go and move for that? Thank you. Councillor McIndoe, and second was Councillor Brimbley. All in favour, thank you. Show of hands. All in favour, thank you very much. So moving on to general business, is there anything anyone wishes to raise? Something's on your mind, Councillor.
I'm just not sure which department, and so I might talk to the CEO, bring it up in general business in the main meeting.
Okay, wonderful. Great, so we've got no closed session reports and no late agenda items. So in that case, I can't see what the time is, so at 11:17 I will. It's just not accurate enough for me, Councillor McIndoe.
You're right, it's not a great clock, is it?
I will call the meeting closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.